to element 4, make the most impact. So element 4 is about all going to be about video basically. Now I've been talking about video since almost day one, so this probably won't come as a surprise to you. So we're going to get started by setting up a free YouTube channel for you, and then I've put together some basic training on how to use your smartphone to record video. There's no need for you to rush out and buy a heap of expensive kit at this stage when you've likely got almost everything you need in your phone, at least to get started. Once we've gone through some of the basics, I want you to get into recording some videos. But before we do any of this, I want to touch on why video is so important. Now, I think most of you already understand the power of video, whether it's come from spending time on YouTube watching crazy cat videos and checking out your competitors' property listing videos. We've all been raised in a world where TV and video are just a normal everyday part of our lives. And we come home from work and watch the news. Sometimes we take the time to watch our favourite sporting event, or if you're lucky enough to, or maybe unlucky depending on your point of view, to have Foxtel, then you might binge watch a Game of Thrones on your day off. However, there's three main reasons I want you to go hard with video beyond the obvious items we just discussed. And so the first one is that video content on YouTube is much easier to rank for specific keyword phrases than it is in Google. In other words, the SEO competition is a lot lower, as you can see from this simple screenshot I've got here. So I did a search for the exact phrase, so that's what those quotation marks are around, real estate agent Perth in Google, and I did it in YouTube. So I got about 3,000 results in Google, and I got about 11. Now, although ranking is not just as simple as ranking for that phrase there, it certainly has a strong element in it. And so, just purely from a competition point of view, focusing on YouTube is a great way to get ahead of the game, because not only do you have a better chance of ranking in YouTube, and remember YouTube's the second biggest search engine in the world, but videos do show up in the Google search results depending on whether Google feels that that's appropriate or not. Now, the next main reason for recording video is simply that video allows you to produce content much quicker and easier than the alternative options. So if you remember back on week 1, I said I was going to show you how to make the production of lots of content quick and cheap. Well, video is actually that way. So it's pretty easy to use your phone to record a 30, 60 or even 154 second video on a topic if you know what you're going to say. And of course that's where some pre-planning and some outlining comes into the process, which we've talked about already in element 1. Now, given that you probably won't be mass producing 35-minute video epics every day, most of your clips should be at a maximum of 2 to 5 minutes long, and I'd probably tend to encourage you to aim for the 2-minute or less version. And it means that it doesn't actually take a lot of time to record multiple videos at a time. So if you had to sit down and write 5 or 10 blog posts a week, even if you're a great writer, it might still take you 15 to 30 minutes per blog post, but with video you could potentially knock out multiple clips in a single hour. Now, the third reason I want you to go hard with video is recorded video has leverage. So once every video is complete, you can upload it to your YouTube channel direct from your smartphone. Then you can get the audio content transcribed for cheap. I use a service from a website called rev.com, which costs $1 US per audio minute. Then you can take that audio, that transcribed text, and post it onto your website with the YouTube video also embedded on the page. And suddenly you've got one piece of content that turned into 2 pieces, a video and a blog post. Best of all, you didn't have to actually sit down and write it. You just talked to your phone for a few minutes, uploaded the video to YouTube, sent the link to Rev, and then had the video transcribed, sent back to you, usually within 24 to 48 hours. And it's a simple copy-paste job to put the transcription and the video onto your website and push go live, and suddenly you've got that content published and out there on the web for Google to find, and also ultimately for everyone else to find. And if you want to, you can link to that post from your Facebook page, from your Twitter account if you use Twitter, and so forth. So suddenly one piece of video content turns into 3 or 4 pieces. In other words, this is what I call Google's killer videos killer content strategy. Create once, repurposed multiple times. So that video can become a video, it can become a blog post with a text, you can have it turned into an infographic, you can have it made into a podcast, and you could then even take the slide deck or the PowerPoint slide and publish those on sites like slideshare.com, for example, and you've got additional content that's going to get out there for people to find. So in other words, if you create your content in video first, then you can leverage it into multiple other forms of content and also be able to share it in there. Plenty of other places online, all of which is designed to increase your authority, which is what this program is about. So by using Rev, you don't have to make a lot of time to sit down and write hundreds or even thousands of words of text content manually. It's super low cost. It's the kind of thing you can produce in bulk. So for example, you might decide that one day a week all you're going to do is record videos for your YouTube channel, maybe pump out 5, 10, even 20 plus, depending on how short or long they are. And then you just send the YouTube links to rev.com. They do all the work transcribing it, send it back to you within a couple of days. Then you copy paste it to each video transcription to a new post on your blog, embed the video, and that's like a 60-second job. Publish the post and you're off and running. And now if you're organized and slightly disciplined with this, you could be publishing 5 to 10 new blog posts and YouTube videos every week. Now, if you could do that, imagine what your online profile would look like after 3 to 6 months. I can guarantee you that almost every single one of your competitors, probably none of them if the truth be told, is doing this kind of publishing and profile building, which means that if you were doing it, you'd have a huge advantage over them within 3 to 6 months. At 5 videos a week, in 3 months your YouTube channel would have 60 videos in it and 60 new blog posts on your website as well. And in 6 months you'd be up to 120 videos and blog posts, and if you doubled your production to 10 a week, you could double those numbers again. And this can all be done in as little as an hour a week. Oh, and if you're busy like everybody else I know, then you can either outsource this to your personal assistant, to a trusted friend or a family member, or one thing I suggest, give up 60 minutes of TV watching a week if you can't afford to outsource it yet. Okay, so I have a video that I put up on my YouTube channel, Real Estate Marketing, and what I want to do is show you how easy it is to have the audio component of that video transcribed and then take that content and post it into your website, maybe onto a blog post, for example, with the video embedded at the top. So once you've uploaded a video to YouTube, I would then send you off to a website called Rev, rev.com, which is a service I've used on and off for a couple of years. And as you can see here, transcriptions done from converting audio or video to text for $1 per audio minute. Now, if you've ever gone out and tried to hire a transcriptionist, at least here in Australia, you're probably paying anywhere from $30 to $100 an hour, depending on who they are and how good they are. And you might say, well, I've got 60 minutes worth of audio content I want to transcribe. That's actually more expensive to use this service. It actually doesn't work out that way, because probably the best transcriptionist in the world doesn't take 1 minute to transcribe 1 minute of audio. They may take 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on what you're saying, whether they understand the words you're saying, how strong or weak of an accent you got, any of those kind of things. What I love about these guys is it's a fixed component. You know what it's going to cost you, and that's it. It's a flat price. So if it's a 2-minute video, it's going to cost you $2. By the way, this is US dollars. If it's a 10-minute video, it's going to cost you $10. So if we just quickly jump back to this example video, this one is 5 minutes and 49 seconds. So it's going to be rounded up. It's going to be $6 to have it done. So I am going to jump in and place an order. So I've already got an account set up. So I just go up here and click sign in and log in. I already have my details in there. No. So some past orders here. So we just click on place new order, transcription. And you can either upload the files, which if you have audio content on your computer you want to upload, you can do that. Do not upload a video file to them, it's going to be massive. There are easy ways to strip the audio out of a video if you've recorded it and got it on your computer. But honestly, if it's something on YouTube, you just want to paste the URL, so you click that option, go back to YouTube, and that's the URL, that's the web address, whatever you want to call it. Go back and click here to paste, and if you have multiple videos you can do them as well. So I'm just going to do one, click add, and yes, I'm finished. And as you can see, it's found the video. It's worked out that it's going to be 6 minutes to have it done, and it's going to be $6. If you want, you can add time stamping on there every minute, so for an extra 25 cents a minute. So that would be, let's see if I've got an example here, what they have to show. So that can be useful if you've got maybe a long amount of content and you're trying to cross-match who says what when. I don't normally use that, and you probably won't ever need to, but if you ever feel the need, it's there. And you can also make it verbatim, which includes filler words like and ahs and a few other things. So, you know, laughter, pauses, like, you know. So what they'll do typically is they'll remove all of that stuff, which personally I prefer it that way. So we now need to put a project name, so I'm just going to go down and select the name of the video and paste it into there. Okay, there's nothing else I need to do. Click the checkout button, and I will put my I'm actually going to pay with PayPal, but if you want to put your credit card in there, I've already got a PayPal account hooked up to this, and I will pause it while we go through that process. I don't want you to see my PayPal details. Nothing personal. Be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back. It was $8.65 converted into Australian dollars. Obviously, it depends on what the conversion rate is at the time. And then they're telling you my order is successful. You can improve the quality of your order by adding in a few things here. So if you want to, if there's multiple people speaking, you could put their names in here. If you want to put specific words in there, you can. So you might have to explain how to spell a word or whatever it is. You can also mention accents. So I'm selecting Australian. Speaker name, don't need to worry about that. Any particular words or acronyms? Nothing I can think of right here and now. So all happy with that. So just click the view receipt, and the order is done. So what will happen now is I'll get a confirmation email sent to me, and when it's ready they will notify me by email. So what I'll do is I'll start this video up or add to this video when that comes in, and you'll be able to see what the email looks like and then what the transcription looks like. Now I will say that the transcriptions that these guys provide are not 100% perfect. You do need to go through and check it just to make sure they haven't mucked up any of the spelling, or maybe got the grammar a bit wrong, or on one or two occasions I've found that they've misunderstood something said. Honestly, for the cost that it costs to use these guys, it's not a big deal. What I would suggest is if you have a long audio to transcribe or a long video, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, probably better to break it up into small chunks if you can. For example, I've had, let's see if I can go back to one of my old services here, one of my old orders I should say. See, order history, sorry. So this one here was a 1 hour and 10 minute one. I would have been much better off when I did that, breaking it up into smaller chunks, because it just took a lot more time and effort to go through and edit it out. But look, in most cases you're going to be recording 1 and 2 and 5 minute videos, not a problem. Just make sure you set aside a little bit of time to go through and read the transcription, fix up any mistakes, and then you can paste them up on your website or whatever you want to do with them. Okay, we'll be back when the order shows up in my inbox. Okay, just a quick interim update. So it's about 11 or 12 minutes since I placed the order, and the as you can see from this screen, the order is in progress and is currently being transcribed. So they don't muck around with this. I wouldn't be surprised if I get this back in the next hour or two, but normally they'll take up to 48 hours to do an audio, a transcription job for you. Just a quick tip: if your transcription length is over, I think it's 60 minutes, you definitely want to break it up because it takes longer. They have some sort of hard limit. I don't remember if it's 60 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, but if it's more than one big chunk at a time, it'll take them more than 48 hours to do the job, which is what they normally will do it in. So you definitely want to break it up into smaller chunks in that sort of scenario. Okay, we will come back when it's been completed. Okay, so it has taken literally 1 hour and 1 minute for the transcription to be done, which is pretty impressive. So here's my email from Rev saying your transcription is ready. A link to click to download the file, and you can rank the transcriptionist. So let's just jump in and do this straight away. We'll go to Rev and log into order history and go down to here where it's complete. The order is complete. There's one finished document which is here, so we will just download that document into the computer and let's open it up with Microsoft Word, and we'll just make this a little bit bigger so you can see more of it. Okay, so first page, order details. How do we do? So you do want to rate your transcriptionist. If you're not happy with the work, rate them a 3 or below, and then they won't work on your job in future. If you are happy, then you need to, in case of Word, you need to hold down your control key and click on the star, whether it's 4 or 5 stars. And then here's the transcription here. So that, I think it was 8 minutes, something like that. I can't remember now. 6 minutes, sorry, 5 minutes and 49 seconds. So it took about a page and a half worth of content. Now, I haven't gone through and checked it for quality yet. I'm going to do that another time. But I'm going to show you now what I would do so I've had it transcribed. What's the next step? And the next step is to publish it to my blog. So I'll go to realestatemarketing.net.au into posts, all posts, click add new, and just go back to YouTube quickly. So what I'm going to do is use this as the title. Copy that. Go back to here and paste that into there. One thing I would probably do is just capitalize the first letter of each word, sorry. Just tends to look a little bit better in the site. Okay. Next, I want to embed the video. So we go to Share, click Embed, Show More, Size. Now, probably my blog posts tend to be about 700 odd pixels wide, so I'd probably go for the 640 by 360. You choose whatever's appropriate. I would usually turn all the rest of this stuff off and just leave it as is. So I'm happy with that. We just collect that. Copy that, select it and copy it. Go back to here, paste it in at the top. Push a couple of carriage returns. And then we'll go down to Word and we will grab the text. Going down to here. Copy. Back to the blog post and paste as plain text. Make sure you do plain text because sometimes Microsoft Word has some weird formatting things that don't copy across properly. Looks okay there. Like I say, I haven't gone through and checked the quality of it. I will go back and do that later on. I'm going to allow comments on the post because if people see it and like it, I want them to, go from there. So let's see, we are looking at content marketing is probably the appropriate category, I think, and publish. And we have, so if we just go back to that Word document for a minute, does it tell you how many words there are? Under view, we should be able to do a word, or was it review, word count. This will tell me roughly, now obviously there's a few extra words in there, but there's roughly 900 words there. Close. If we take out some of this stuff here and a few other extra like the footers, let's say 850, just a rough guess. So we have published a post on our blog with a video at the top and the transcription of the video, and done. Nice and easy, piece of cake. So that's how you create content really fast without having to write it. Now, one final tip, which I actually got from a real estate agent I was speaking to in Canberra last week, and it was a good idea. He was talking about how he struggles to record videos naturally and sound natural, but not dribble like I'm prone to doing at times. And so his idea was, I'll record my video, do and say whatever I need to do, have it transcribed, get the text back, and then what he's going to do is go back in and clean up the text, get rid of the ums and ers, change the formatting around so that it's nice and clear and easy to read and is more succinct and compelling, rather than waffling around the point. If he needs to move this paragraph up to here, he will. And then he has a teleprompter, which you can buy them really cheap. I've got one I picked up from the States. I think off the top of my head it was about $200 or $300, and it works with a tablet like an iPad or a Samsung tablet. You put in the teleprompter, and then he will stand in front of the teleprompter and record the video again, but reading the script the way he wanted it. So yeah, it's a little bit more time and work, but it's a way to make sure that you get really good quality in your videos, because I can tell you from having done this for many years, unless you're really good at this, and even the professionals aren't that great at this, having the ability to clean up what you say and make it more absorbable and interesting and compelling is a really useful thing. So if you want to go that extra level, that's fine. But what I've done here is I've showed you a really simple example of coming up with a 850, 900 word blog post with an attached video onto the web, and easy as pie. Cost me $6 US to have the transcription done. And so that is my number one secret to creating content fast. So get out there and give it a try, and I reckon you'll be very impressed with the results. They don't have to be 6 or 10 minute videos. You can do 2-minute videos and a couple of paragraphs. As long as it says something useful and compelling and interesting, that's all that matters. But having that video above it, which is my video as well, adds that extra wow factor for people. So enjoy. So element 4, make the most impact. It's obviously about video, getting it up on YouTube. So let's talk about the different styles of video. And there's really only 3 styles you need to worry about at this stage. And I think you'll find that they're pretty simple. So I just want to quickly walk you through them. So style number 1 is what I would call slideshow and music. And this one's the easiest of all. So with your video editing software, whether you're using something on your computer or whether you're using your smartphone, and there's free apps to do stuff on your smartphone, and there's free software you can find if you shop around a bit on the web for using on your computer. So you would import your images, and it's just photos basically. So for example, if you wanted to do a walkthrough of a house, you've had your photographer out there and take photos, they send you all the photos. Very easy to take them and put them into a video. So you would just import them into your software, arrange them in the order you want, choose some sort of music track to back onto it, render the video, and then upload to YouTube. So pretty simple, technically very easy. As long as you know how to turn a computer on and do a few basic things, this is going to be a piece of cake. The big obvious downside to this option is that there's no voice guiding people through the subject, just music. So purely from a perspective of creating video that is going to get found in Google and bring people to your website and get them aware of who you are, it's not the ideal solution. Now you can add text overlays onto the slide depending on each slide, depending on how sophisticated your video editing software is, and that can help get some of the message across, but it's still not great from an SEO and a marketing point of view because it's just not as effective as a persuasion tool. The only way to make this be vaguely effective from an SEO point of view is when you upload it to YouTube, you make sure that you write in the description information about what the property is. So you could, where the address was, it was 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, it had this, that, and the other, where it's located, some, just put some text in there that can Google can identify. And ditto, if you put this on your website, you'd put the video on YouTube first, and then you'd set up a page on your website later on, embed the video at the top, and put some sort of description on the page. So you can get some value out of that, but it's not so much from the marketing point of view, just the SEO point of view. It is a good option if you want something quick and simple, though. That's the key. So moving on from there, the next level up is where we do the same thing again with slideshow, but we add narration into the process. And you would do the same thing. You would import images, and actually I should have said this before. You can also use video clips that you've already got. So if you've been out with your phone and you've taken a couple of clips, you can still import them into the process, because pretty well all video editing software will allow you to work with both images and video clips. But in this scenario, what you're doing is you put them into the timeline, you lay them out how you want, and then you record a voiceover track so that anyone who's watching it is going to see the images and or the video clips showing up, and your voice at the bottom is talking them through the process. The only minor issue you'll find here is that depending on your scenario, you may need to adjust the timing between transitions between slides. So if you're talking about a particular slide, you don't want it to change before you finish talking about it. So all of these video editing software products will allow you to adjust the timing between the transition. So that's just something to be aware of. Once you've done the video, you're happy with it, you render it, you publish it to YouTube, easy peasy. The only real downside with this one is that people don't get to see your face on video, which is important in terms of making a personal connection with the viewer. The plus side is that it's easy to do. You don't have to worry about good lighting or location, and if you're having a bad hair day or looking scruffy at the time and you don't want to appear on camera, it's perfect. So you can do this anywhere, anytime, pretty well. Once again, this is the kind of thing you could do on your phone. If you're sitting in a home open and it's dead as a doornail, put a few images together, get something up and running, record a voiceover, and up to YouTube, and Bob's your uncle. The third option is the main one, which is you getting on camera. So that's where you're speaking to the viewer and they can see you. Now this can be simple or it can be complicated. It's your choice what you want to create. But if you're a beginner to this, I'd definitely say go for the simple option. Okay. When it comes to video editing, you could be a 10-year professional making movies and TV series, and that's complicated. None of you need that. Okay, simple is better. So I would start by planning an outline in writing, and I've talked about how to do that previously. And then you want to speak for up to 2 minutes about the key points in your outline. If your outline's solid, you're reasonably comfortable with the topic, you'll probably be able to record this in one take, which means it's quick and easy to produce and publish. That's the thing. Don't get caught up in thinking that, publishing content, particularly with video, it can be really quick and easy. Don't get caught up in thinking you've got to spend weeks making it perfect. Just get it out there, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Alternatively, if you don't manage to do it in one take, that's the beauty of the video. You can delete a take if it didn't work, and you can just record each scene in small chunks and then join them all together into one final video. The obvious downside to this type of video, yes, it's more complicated because you've got to worry about lighting, audio, how you look and sound on camera and so forth. And if you botch any of these items bad enough, you might need to reshoot. The plus of this video type is that it helps form a stronger connection with the viewer because they can see and hear you in person. And as I said earlier, it's also very quick to record once you get some experience under your belt. That's the real key with video, is practice makes perfect. You'll never, actually I'll rephrase it, you'll probably never be quote unquote perfect, like movie editor perfect, but compared to every other real estate agent in the country, you will be so far ahead of the game it's not funny. And the more of these you do, the better you'll get at this, I promise you. So that's your three different options. So every time you want to create new content, have a think about, do I want to go with slideshow and music? Do I want to go with slideshow and narration? Or do I want to do on camera? And then do your basic planning from there. This kind of stuff within reason. I mean, if you sort of understand how to get your way around the phone and how to push the record button and that kind of stuff, a lot of this stuff you can do in 5 or 10 minutes. It's not a lot of time to create content, but if you have to sit down and write an article from scratch, and you maybe, even if you're good at writing it might take you 15 or 30 minutes to write an article. With a video, it's something you can do very quickly, and as I said, the more you do, the better you get at it, the easier this gets, and you can pump them out, no problems at all. You should be able to do 1 video a day minimum. If you're not doing a video a day, either you are not trying very hard, or maybe you're so busy that you need to hire a personal assistant to take some of the workload off you, and then you've got time to do this. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when it comes to YouTube is to set yourself up a YouTube channel. Now, unfortunately, because I already have a YouTube channel set up, I can't go back and show you setting one up from scratch, which is a little bit different. Now, because I have an existing channel, I have a slightly different process to do it. So what I'm going to do is just send you a few, or show you a few resources that you can use to get started. It's still a pretty simple process. So the first thing I'll do is just go to Google and do a search for how to set up a YouTube channel, and it comes up with this at the front here. So to understand, when you first sign up a YouTube channel, one of the things you'll need is what's called a Google account. Now, if you have a Gmail account, for example, then you should be able to use that account, that login, that email and password login. If you don't, you'll have to go to Google, and if I remember correctly, it's accounts.google.com, and you'll land on this page, which is, as I said, accounts.google.com. One account or Google sign in. So if you don't have a Google account yet, you'll need to click on the create account link and fill in the form and put your name in there, choose a username, create a password. Please try to use a strong password. Don't use password as a password. You need something strong because you don't want people cracking into your account. And trust me, it's pretty easy to do it with software out there that can just try a whole pile of different passwords. So keep it something complicated, not a real word. Put your birthday details in, your phone number, all this sort of stuff. So this is all necessary to help Google identify who you are. And by putting your phone number in, your mobile number, it actually also gives you the option to do a password reset if something goes wrong with your account and somebody else is trying to break into it. You can do stuff from there. So you'll get yourself a Google account first if you don't already have one. And then from there, we go to here and create a channel. So initially, when you first get set up, you'll have a personal channel with your name. So Fred Smith, Joe Blogs, Mary Johnson, whatever. So what you want to do is create a channel with a business name. So get your basic personal channel set up first, and then from there you want to create a channel. So on a computer or mobile browser, make sure you're signed into YouTube. So if we just quickly go to YouTube, as I said, unfortunately I can't show you some of this stuff because I already have an account now and it's difficult to bypass what's happening. So you would go here and click sign in and put your Google account information in there, and then it would sign your account in. And once you've done that, you would then click on this link, which is youtube.com/channel_switcher. So it looks like it's going to make me sign in, unfortunately, but that's okay. Let's just do that. Now this is what happens because I already have an account. It's now giving me a selection of accounts that I can access. So I can log in with one login, but I can choose multiple accounts. So I can go in as just myself as my real estate marketing account, my More Customers 24/7 account, or my All About Inaloo account. I can add more in if I want. I can add more accounts in there if I want. So the first one you'll set up is as here. So choose create a new channel, and from a different name than your Google account, fill out the details, and then from there you can get it up and running. So in terms of choosing a name, I actually recommend that you don't choose your real estate practice. What I would like to recommend is that you focus on, you need to think about your account as being something that focuses either, number one, on your primary geographic area. So for example, I've got the All About Inaloo account set up here, which, you know, Inaloo's, obviously I'm not a real estate agent, but I live in Inaloo, and so that's the easiest one for me to record videos about because I know the suburb. So wherever you are, if that's your primary geographic focus, then choose something like All About whatever, or living in whatever, or what you want to do is think of it big picture. It needs to be more than real estate. It needs to be a resource for anyone who wants to know anything about that area. And real estate is going to just be one aspect of that. So that's why I'm suggesting that you don't choose, you know, XYZ real estate agency. You could choose your personal name if you want, but I think you're better to choose somewhere that's geographic based. That would be the primary recommendation I would have. And then from there, we'll also down the track, when we get to Facebook stuff, we'll be setting up a Facebook business page that'll be having a similar name. So I don't have it set up yet, but I'll be setting up a business page for Facebook, All About Inaloo as well. Now you'll notice here I put my state and my postcode in there, so it doesn't hurt to add that, just that little bit of extra identification into your account, so that it really helps a bit more. You'd be amazed at what Google understands. You type the word Inaloo and 6018, it knows that that's the same thing. There may, look, I have no idea if there's an Inaloo somewhere else in the world. I know there's multiple Perths, for example, but by adding that little extra bit of identifying information, you help better focus your account on your primary area. So think about that. You know, if you work in multiple areas, you need to perhaps think a little bit more carefully about how you're going to tackle that one. You know, drop me a message in the Facebook private users group for Authority Agent Academy message clients, and we can sort of brainstorm some ideas there if you're having trouble with that. But you know, maybe you work in not just one suburb, and maybe you work in a group, you know, like the western, you know, I think Sydney, I don't know Sydney that well, but you might say, okay, I'm in the western suburbs, or All About Sydney's western suburbs, for example. You might do something like that. So that would be my recommendation. Once you've got the account set up, you can then, so if I just choose yes, so once you've got that, you can then actually add new channels anytime you want. So if I decide I'm going to create another channel for another project, I just click on that, and then you name it, select a category, and so forth. But when you're first getting going, you won't see that. So once you've actually logged into your specific channel, when you go to upload a video, the video is going to go to that specific channel, and that's the important thing to understand. So you need your Google account first, you need to create a YouTube account, and then from there you need to create a new name for your YouTube account using the channel switcher link, so channel _ switcher, and go from there. Now you may find that you need to set up, to do this, you may have to set up a Google Plus page as well. And if you need to do that, you'll have to follow the links involved in doing that. Unfortunately, as I said, I can't show you some of this stuff because I've already done it. The other thing you also may have to do is verify your account by phone. So just be aware that getting an account set up may not be a simple 2-minute job. So you will probably have to enter a few extra details. Google's pretty strict about making sure that they know who's got accounts with them, because essentially they're giving you carte blanche to upload anything and everything onto their service, and they don't want anything inappropriate. Now, sure, they can find some of that stuff quickly, but they can't always find it straight away. So that's why you'll have to do things like verify your account by phone, and as I said, you may need to set up a Google Plus account as well. Predominantly just follow the instructions that Google gives you and work your way through the process. If you get stuck, drop me a message on Facebook, and I will do my best to help you get through the process. Okay, that's it as far as getting a YouTube account working. So something you might want to do just to check the speed of your internet is to run a speed test. So you can do this on speedtest.net, and it will work on your desktop computer, PC or Mac, because it's just a web page, and there's actually an app you can download for it as well. So once you hit the page, watch out, they got ads hidden all over the side here. Sometimes they look a bit sneaky. Just click that button there that says begin test, and off it will go, and it will run a ping test, which is they send a quick signal to one place and then get it back and see how quickly it came back. And then there's two different types of speeds, your download speed and your upload speed. And what you'll typically find, if you've got your fairly standard ADSL connection, the download speed will be a lot faster than the upload speed. But if you're lucky enough to be on a decent 4G mobile or something like Australia's NBN network, you might find that you get a much higher speed across both upload and download. So the reason I'm showing you this, you can see there's a massive difference there. When you're uploading videos to YouTube, be aware that they're going to run very slowly on your desktop computer, and so just understand that if you compare this test result to your mobile, you may find your mobile phone does like I can get my mobile phone in some cases to show 30 or 40 megabits per second upload, which is hugely faster. So as long as you've got enough spare data to upload video files, you might find that a quicker solution. But this is a good way to just do a quick test initially and see what your results are like, so you know where you stand. So I'm just going to finish with some suggested video topics. And look, the obvious one is we go right back to week 1, utility, answering questions from prospects and clients. So every time you get asked a question, whether it's in person, on the phone, via email, by text message, think about, can you turn that into a video? It doesn't have to be a 20-minute video. It could be a 30-second video. But if someone's asked that question once, chances are somebody else has thought about it. And if you've got a video up there that answers that question, then that's a good opportunity for your content to get found in Google. Another one is to discuss market conditions, including interest rate changes. So you should look at doing like a monthly review of the market, both houses for sale and buyer demand, pricing, any of those sorts of things. That kind of info should be pretty easy to get when you're in the industry. But then if you get an interest rate change, or even an interest rate that stays the same, talk about it. Talk about how it affects lenders, borrowers, and typically you're talking about home buyers there. So that's going to be something that's of interest to someone. And you might say, well, why would I do that? There's 5,400 other TV channels and newscasters and newspapers and high-end video bloggers doing that. But the thing is that they're not doing it from the local perspective that you should be doing it. So if you work in and I've used Keith Barrett from Duncraig many times as an example up to now. So if you're Keith, you're the Duncraig real estate expert, talk about this stuff from Duncraig's perspective. The guy on Channel 7, 9 and 10 and ABC News is going to talk about it from Perth or the Australia-wide perspective. You as the local agent should be talking about it from your local area. Now, it might not be much different than what was said for the whole of the country, but you still want to put a local spin onto it. Another thing to do is to riff off relevant news items. So if there's something on the news that's related to homes, housing, real estate or whatever, discuss it. You will often see that kind of stuff going on out there. Someone starts saying, look, there was this item I saw in the news the other day about X, Y, and Z, and here's my thoughts on it. So do that kind of stuff. Whether you watch the news or not, I don't know, but it's pretty easy to set up a some sort of way to get the news sent to you each day, or you can have an option to go and visit a news site and just check what's going on. Some of the news sites, I'm pretty sure Yahoo 7 for example, they have a section on real estate. Go and look at the real estate news and use that as the starting point to talk about a topic. Once again, it doesn't have to be a 20-minute video. I mean, if you can make great 20-minute videos and people watch them and enjoy them, go for it. But you may only need 60 or 120 seconds. And I typically don't encourage you to go more than a couple of minutes. Another thing is to discuss your favorite real estate TV show. There's lots of shows out there now around that subject, including things like Fixer Upper and $1 Million Agent, all those sort of things. If you watch those shows, talk about your episode. So, we saw an episode last night and they did this, this, and this. Give us your thoughts on it. Okay? It's kind of like in the news, they'll have a couple of guest speakers. They just come in for 30 or 60 seconds and they discuss a topic. So do the same kind of thing. You see that all the time on the news. It's a popular way of filling a bit of time and providing some information. So, if you've got a favorite show that you like watching related to real estate, then definitely talk about it. Next, reviews of local businesses. As you know and get to know, like, and trust and use local businesses, do a review of them. Whether it's your favorite Chinese restaurant or whether you had a party on the weekend and you went and hired some party stuff from a local party hire business and they gave you a great service, tell people about it. Number one, it helps people know what's going on in the local area, helps them find good people to do business with, and the people that you do the review for, if they find out that you've done a review and it's positive, they're more likely to refer people back to you because of that. So it's kind of a win-win there. Another item is local news and events. So, if you're in Perth, if we're in Duncraig like Keith, talk about Duncraig news and events rather than Perth news and events. So if the local Shire Council is making some changes to some regulation that affects something in Duncraig, or if the local sporting team had a win or a loss, or if there's a school event on, maybe a fundraiser for the school or something like that, great opportunity. Almost become like almost like a current affairs type of thing for the local space. And then the other one is tips on anything to do with home improvement, decorating, landscaping, anything to do with homes in particular. And this is where it's really useful for you to, maybe you don't know much about decorating or landscaping, pair up with a local business provider who is good in that area, do like a video interview, 2 to 5 minute interview. That's a great way to come up with content that's going to be of interest to people that own and buy and sell homes. If you're talking about any of these things, even a renter who will buy a home one day probably is going to get some value out of that. So there's just a list of 7 things that you could do. I'm sure you can come up with a heap more, but hopefully that'll get you started. Get out a piece of paper, or better yet, get your spreadsheet up and running and just start writing down ideas. As you get questions from people, write them down. As the market conditions change or something else happens, make a note. Do an outline, record a video. With the ability to record stuff on a smartphone quickly and easily, you can knock this stuff out really easily. It doesn't take a week to produce a 2-minute video unless you're doing something exorbitantly crazy. In most cases, you could potentially even have the phone, you just have the phone mounted on a tripod and you just talk for 2 minutes. Within 3 minutes, there's half a minute to turn the video on, get it all set up, half a minute to turn it off, and talk for 2 minutes, and you're done in 3 minutes. You don't even have to edit and upload the video straight away. You can save that all up, maybe do it at the end of the week or on a Monday, whenever you've got the time available. So hopefully there's been plenty of ideas there for you to get you stuck into making video. This really is probably one of the key elements of Authority Agent Academy. We're going to look more at this as we progress. I'm going to go a bit more deep into this sort of stuff, but this should be a good place to get you started. So get that phone out and start talking at it. I look forward to seeing some of your videos. When you get the first few videos up, send me an email or drop me a message and let me know, and I'll go and have a look at them. I'll really look forward to seeing what you're doing. Alright, that is the end of this element. We will move on to the next element now. Speak to you soon.